Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we'll be playing one of the best Tier 8 in the game, the Skoda T56. This is a vehicle that I have not really played in a while, but it's also a tank that I know is incredibly strong. And if you told me I could only pick one of a handful of Tier 8s to keep in my account, this would definitely be one of them. The Skoda has so many different unique capabilities. First of all, it has gear oil, and it has sandbags, which is very rare for Tier 8. So you can give yourself a boatload of hit points at almost 2,000, while also increasing your top speed by 4 and reverse speed by 4. The other part of the Skoda that is incredibly nice is the gun. This vehicle hits really hard with 450 damage per shot, and its high explosive is one of the highest in Tier 8 with 640 damage per shot. So this thing hits hard. It also has 8 degrees of gun depression, a top speed of almost 40 kilometers per hour, and it can reverse at 16 with just 1 gear oil. So it has alpha damage, it's got mobility, and even more impressively, it also has really good armor. Its upper plate is pretty strong. Its side armor is actually angled to a point where if you hit it at a goofy spot, it'll actually ricochet right off. And then most importantly, it has really kind of everything you'd want. Good turret armor. It's just really insane. There is one big downside to the Skoda, and while we're waiting before we get into queue, it's the accuracy. It's 0.335, and that's with refined gun. That's also not mentioning the absolutely horrendous aiming time. So yeah, there are downsides. The gun has the worst accuracy you've ever seen. But to make up for that, it hits hard, it's got mobility, it's got armor, it's got everything else. So if you really take away the accuracy downside, there really is no other downside to this vehicle, and it's why it is one of the most popular Tier 8s. So I would highly recommend for anybody that doesn't have the Skoda T56, keep an eye out, because this thing is really, really fun. With that being said, let's get into some gameplay here and see what the Skoda can do. I also just love the way this thing looks. Wargaming gave it a really cool legendary camo that has like a flame effect coming off of it, and I think that it's one of the few tanks Wargaming's done a really, really cool legendary camo for. I wish they put more effort into tier 10 camos like they did on this one here. But let's see what we can do. This first battle, we got 2 tier 9s up against us, a Tortoise and an enemy K91. Apart from that, we're pretty chill. You can see the mobility here, pretty solid on this tank because of that gear oil, allowing it to actually achieve upwards of 40. And the reverse speed, as I mentioned as well, is really, really nice. So we're going to aim it on the lower plate of the BZ. There you go. A 512 roll into that player. I mean, that's a real juicer of damage. Now we simply reload. Obviously, you're going to be having a very long reload on this thing for the level of damage per shot it has, but again, it's not too big of a deal when you are hitting so dang hard. Ah, dang. That accuracy, though, is pretty awful. We actually got hatched by the K91, which is a real bummer. Got the T54 mod 1 on the flank there, and looks like our Scorpion shot that player. Okay, we got the T49, and not much I can do right now. I think the best play is just to wait. The 54 mod 1 is getting flanked anyway, so my thought process is maybe poke the Tortoise. Let's aim in, aiming, and okay, the Tortoise actually manages to hit me, and that bounces. Huh. Okay. Well, that's not good. It's even worse when you realize that my 752 basically killed themselves. So we're in a really, really awkward spot here. Alright, let's see if we can maybe get a shell into the enemy Tortoise. Aiming, aiming, boom. Okay, we do pen the shot, but rather frustratingly, the Tortoise is able to slam right back into me. We do get a bounce from the Scorpion, which is pretty nice, but the Tortoise is probably going to try and shoot me again. No, we're okay. Alright, let's back up. The Emil manages to hit me once, but we can aim it on the Emil's lower plate, and boom, a 438. Okay, we're up to 1300 damage. This has been a really, really mid battle. And it's not because of the tank, it's just because of the matchup that we've been given here. Sometimes you just get thrown into these situations where there's not much you can do because your team drives in way too aggressive and puts you in a really awkward spot. Enemy Scorpion is making a weird play there. Would love to be able to get a shell into that Scorpion. That would be so amazing. A 600 damage high explosive. Aiming, aiming, and, well, We don't deal 600, but we still take them out of the game, now dealing 1,662 damage. Okay, well, the Scorpion shoots the K91, and it looks like the K91 is going to try and shoot me. We get a nice shot, though, for 563 into that player, and the Scorpion gets the clear. So not a bad game at all. We brought it back. We actually ended up dealing over 2,000, and we held long enough that our team was able to get the win. I thought for a moment we were just going to get screwed there, and we were going to die, but we did decent. I just don't know why our 752 decided to YOLO when very clearly that wasn't the right play. But there you go, 2,225 damage, which placed us right up there with the rest of our teammates. And yeah, the Scorpion G was a nice help as well. Really, really solid teammate. That's all you need. I say it all the time. All you need is one teammate to support you. And that Scorpion, with their DPM and high alpha, was able to sit behind me and basically stop the enemy team from making over aggressions. We definitely got trolled a teeny bit in that battle. I don't know how we bounced that one shell on the Tortoise. That player must have just turned their tank at the last second, taking the shell from what was a pen to a bounce. But here we are, another tier 8 game where we got two tier 9s up against us, a 752 and a T30. Bruh, that is the most cringe enemy lineup of tier 9s I could have asked for. But at least we have enough alpha damage to actually outtrade the 752 with a single shot. Well, looks like our team's going to head towards the town, so I will support them. And we'll see what the right play is here. I'm just trying to think of where I exactly want to go. I think we're going to go to the stairs and get hauled down for now. That's usually the safest play to make early game on this map. The enemy team has 4 heavies, so I am expecting to see... Yeah, there you go. A lot of tanks over here. Well, we got the enemy 752, which we bounced. Not too surprised at all. I just wanted the backup. How that 752 beat us in the position, I'm actually a little surprised because it's not a fast tank, but oh well. Let's reload again, and I guess instead we'll head over here. The thing that sucks about being in a tier 8 heavy is you just don't... Bruh. Well... Oh, we still hit it. Nice. Okay. What I was going to say is that the thing that sucks about being in a tier 8 heavy is when you're up against tier 9s, you just don't really have a counter to them. I mean, the 752, for example, how do you counter that thing? It has 2,500 DPM, it has a double shot 420 alpha. It's just not really counterable. You cannot win a fight with that tank, you know? There's plenty of tanks you can win fights against. That is not a tank that you can. So we got the T30, which we get a nice 440 slap into. However, the T44 shoots me, and I have to move into cover before... Oh my god, this is terrible. This is actually as bad as it can get. Alright, let's aim it on the 57. There you go. Nice 420. And I'm just going to chill back here. And let my standard B hopefully do something. I don't know. This is bad. This is very, very bad. I'm going to wiggle, and there you go. We do get a bounce from the enemy T44. Oh, dang, dude. This is about as bad as of a team as I could have asked for here. Let's get another... Oh! Oh, yeah, buddy. Well, they're out of the game. That's pretty crazy. Again, like, this thing does hit hard. The module damage on this vehicle is insane. And we got a little lucky there, I won't lie, but, well, I guess it's still a really good example of the Skoda's capabilities, right? I don't know what the standard B's doing, but he's very clearly not good at the game, so I'll take any bit of luck I can get here. This T44 is still molding. It's hilarious. Alright, well, let's see. We got the T30, we got the T77. I'm gonna... Okay. Well, I guess we're going to be snapped by the T30. I didn't know they could actually see me. It doesn't matter. There's only one tank left, which is the T77. I just didn't think the T30 had the angle on my tank there. I thought the T77 was blocking them. But I don't think we would have done any more damage, so I'm actually happy with the plays that we made this game. This was a crazy, crazy battle. We full health ammo racked the enemy T44, and we ended up turning what would have been a pretty average game into a 3,500 damage victory. That's pretty crazy. Wow, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what to say. Obviously, I got really, really lucky against that T44, but at the same time, I'm not really sure why they were putting themselves in that position. I would not have done that personally. And you also never want to poke side on in Soviet or Chinese mediums, because, sure, the chance of being ammo-racked is really, really slim. But it's not zero. Like, when I was trying to 3-mark my BZ-75, I had 2 separate games where I got full health ammo-racked, and... one of them, I got shot in the side. The other, I got shot in the lower plate, which was close to the side. Just in general, ammo racks are cringe, but oh well. Either way, we're on Alpenstadt now, and we got an all tier 8 matchup, finally. I don't have a problem with fighting tier 9s, it's just, as I've said, tier 9s are so much better than tier 8s. It's really not even fair. Like, most of the tanks at tier 8 and below are pretty balanced in their own tiers. Yes, the Smasher and Annihilator are completely OP, but apart from those two outliers, most of the tanks in tier 7 are pretty average. But when you look at tier 9, there's so many tier 9s which just are broken when you compare them to the tier 8s that they have to go up against. I mean, the Eric Concept won a double shot 500 damage gun. Like, what is that? The 7.52, the Kampfpanzer 70, the Kampfpanzer 07. I mean, I could just go on and on with the amount of dumb tier 9s there are. Where, you know, you try to think of OP tier 8s, and there definitely are overpowered tier 8s, right? The Grom is really, really good, but even then, it's not a vehicle that's going to scare most tier 9s. Either way, we got a nice 415 shot into the enemy Progetto. It was definitely a low roll with 450 alpha, but not bad. I'm not sure what to do here. I'm going to try and move up. That's what I was worried about. We got the Carnarvon Defender making an aggressive play. But look at that alpha damage. 537 shot into that player. And unlike the VK100, we actually have mobility, so it's not like we sacrifice much either. I mean, yeah, as I mentioned, the gun, it's really inaccurate on this vehicle. But it doesn't really matter when you're in a frontline heavy, you know? So we get 2 shots into this Carnarvon. We've already nuked them. We've blocked 11 under damage at this point. And, like, what are they going to do to counter me? You're cooked, dude. 420 health with a 450 alpha? You're gone. There you go. 1800 damage dealt now, and this is more a great example of where that 8 degrees of gun depression, 450 damage per shot, and good mobility really allow this tank to just push its way through the enemy. So what do we have here? We got a Pantera in mid, and I'm going to slam a shell into them. I was really hoping I could ram them, but it's fine. We're just going to maneuver our tank here, and they're dead. Then we got the ISU, who's running away. Looks like the ISU is actually running this way. I don't know why this Pantera is crying about their team, as they also decided to drive their medium tank to the heavy flank. But either way, we're going to reload. Unfortunately, it looks like the ISU bled a lot of their health. I was really hoping we could high explosive them. But there you go, 2,600 damage and a really, really good game. Another great example of the Skoda T56, right? Like, it just doesn't have many downsides. And because Wargaming kind of mega buffed refined gun, it also means that this tank actually isn't as inaccurate as you'd think. It's definitely not going to snap shells, but if you compare it to a Soviet heavy like the IS-6 or the IS-5, it's not any worse, and you have so many more advantages. So there you go, 2,600 damage, we end up netting 94,000 credits, and let's do one more game in this tier 8, and see if we can get, yet again, another victory. But yeah, I mean, we've just been dominating. It really is such a fun tank. There's very few tier 8s that have high alpha damage, right? You got the VKs, the VK100 and VK168 with 460. You have the Caliban, but those 3 vehicles all sacrifice. The VKs only go 20, and the Caliban is not only incredibly slow, but has 0 armor and the worst accuracy known to man. This tank, sure, its accuracy is bad, but it's not the worst. Its mobility is good, its armor is great, and its gun depression is fantastic. So you don't really have the downsides that any of those other high alpha vehicles have. And you even get sandbags, so I can have almost the same health as a VK100. And when you really think about it, at that point, like, yeah, this tank kind of just is better. It's built different. Now, obviously, autoloaders are still going to be more OP. Why drive a Skoda T56 when you can drive a T77 and deal 760 damage in 2.5 seconds? But this tank does have much better armor than the T77. And not only that, it has much better mobility due to the gear oil. So there are definitely advantages to this vehicle that you're not going to get in any other tier 8. And it's why I do consider the Skoda T56 to be so darn good. But here we are on Winter Malinovka. This final battle is another tier 8 game, and that's what I like to see. So what are we going to do in this battle? Well, we're going to head over towards base C to begin with. And, yeah, we'll see what we can do here. Okay, what do we have up against us? T77, Visante, Vipera. Okay, not too strong of an enemy lineup. We should be fine. Speed is key. We got the Samwa. Okay. Alright. Well, we are going to move in. Again, though, like, the mobility on this tank is totally fine. The Samwa is a pretty fast heavy, and we're only going slightly slower than the Samwa in terms of our acceleration. It's pretty impressive just how quick this thing can be. And technically, I could have swapped a large sandbag for fuel, and I could have been way faster in terms of power to weight. But I don't really feel like we need the fuel. I'm going to cross. There you go. We got a T54 lightweight for some reason crossing. Gilbert. Let's see, is there anybody over there? I mean, I'm not worried at all about the 54 lightweight. That tank does not scare me. We have so much more alpha damage and just capabilities than that lightweight. Okay, we got the FV, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to aim it on the T54, and there you go. 488 chunk into that player. I mean, think about that. 488. How do you counter that level of damage? And with adrenaline, we just reload, and we do it again. 3, 2, 1, boom. 492. 2 shots into that player, and we brought what was a full health tank to 270. That is just wild. It really is just wild. So let's see if these Bisante decides to poke. I bet you they will. And when they do, should be able to get a pretty easy chunk into them. You know what? I'm not even going to waste my time on them. We got the SU-152 in mid, and aiming. We can actually HE the lower plate of the SU-152, taking them out of the game for 580 health. Yeah, as I mentioned, this vehicle's high explosive is incredibly dangerous. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into a side scrape. We got the Vipera, which does end up penetrating me. I actually don't care if they dump their reserve shell. Yeah, you know why? Because now you have -2 DPM, my dude. Why would you do that? What's the thought process there? Either way, we're just going to chill. T57 misses the first shot, and I'm going to aim it on the Vipera again. 3, 2, 1, boom. 503. Just like that, the Vipera lost that trade big time. They're now at 396 health, which means they are a guaranteed one-shot for me, even if I low roll. So we're just going to reload again. 3, 2, 1, aiming in, and boom. Ah, we got really unlucky. But, well, I was going to say our teammate gets the clear, but I guess they don't. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I think that Vipera fired their reserve shell again, so I'm just going to back up here. We're going to aim it on the Vipera really quickly. There you go. Get a clearing shot into them. And then we have the T57 who has 84 health in front of us, so I'm going to reload. And I'm going to load in another high explosive for the T77. There you go. Another nice shot. That player's out of the game. With 640 high explosive damage per shot, it's very easy to outtrade your opponents. So what are we going to do here? Is the Bisante trying to rush me? Not really sure. I'm going to move in. The Bisante can't kill me with 2 shots. And, oh boy, you ready for a nasty HE? 612 into the rear of that enemy. And just like that, it put me up to a whopping 3,150 damage. So it's a 1 versus 1 at this point. The enemy Bisante is obviously trying to run away. And we are going to be smart about this. We're going to chill in the base here. And we're going to start capping it. The Bisante does have way, way more DPM than me. But they also have the downside of much less alpha damage. So as long as we chill here, we should be totally fine. Not really sure why that player poked that, but now not only are we going up on base, but, well, let's be honest, this Bisante is pretty much cooked. We're just going to reload. 3, 2, 1, boom. Easy clear. 4 kills, 3,730 damage. And, yeah, it just dominates. It really does. The moment you're not up against tier 9s, it just bullies because you've got that alpha and everything else, and how do you counter the thing, right? How do you counter a vehicle that has this level of alpha, that has gun depression? I mean, sure, the accuracy was pretty bad against that Vipera, but didn't even matter. We still won the trades big time. There you have it. 3,700 damage. So, yeah, you ask me, the Skoda T56 is one of the best tier 8 in the game. And if you want to get your hands on a vehicle that's not only cheap, but just incredible, this is probably the way to go. So, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.